Hey everybody, welcome back. I just wanted to do a quick video here, something that was on my mind with the hurricane going on right now. I kind of started thinking about tornadoes, and I'm from the Midwest, in Illinois, the Chicago suburbs. I live about an hour west of Chicago, and Illinois, it's not the worst state for tornadoes, but it is definitely, especially the southern part. I lived in the northwest suburbs. That's where Chicago is. Chicago's about an hour away, hour south of the Illinois-Wisconsin borderline, about 2 hours away from Milwaukee. Down south, they get a lot more tornadoes. It's more flat, more open land, but still had a fair share up by us. And I wanted to share the closest that I ever came to being in a tornado. Now, I'm pretty sure the whole state of, even though they're not as common as like Oklahoma or Kansas, or Nebraska, Arkansas. Actually, Arkansas, from what I heard, I have a couple friends that live there, and they said that a lot of the tornadoes there happen at night, which is pretty scary because you can't see them. But anyway, over the years, ever since I can remember as a little kid, always had a fair share of tornado watches and tornado warnings. And for those, I'm pretty sure everybody knows, but for those who, a lot of people get the warnings and the watches confused. Basically, a tornado watch means that the conditions are right for a tornado. There actually hasn't been one spotted. Tornado warning, a lot of people think that's the same as the watch, but no, a tornado warning means to take cover. It means there's actually been one spotted. Maybe not necessarily touched down, but at least active, like funnel cloud spotted. So that's the story with that. And this, I believe, I think was in like September, like 31 years ago, September of 1988, if my memory serves me correctly. I was about 9 years old, and not sure how many of you live in the Midwest, but Midwest, there's like tornado sirens all over the place in case it were to happen, to warn people to take cover. Even now with everybody having emergency weather apps and emergency alerts. So, not sure exactly how far. I'm sure it's probably at least a mile away, maybe farther away, the distance. But I'm sure there was probably a tornado watch in effect. It was in the early evening. That's when most tornadoes take place. Usually, hot, humid days, and when hot air, tornado forms when hot air meets cold air. Circulation starts to basically the cold air fights the hot air, and circulation, rotation starts to take place. So that's why it usually happens in the late afternoon, early evening when the temperature's starting to drop. So I'm pretty sure there was a tornado watch in effect, and maybe even a tornado warning, and then all of a sudden the sirens went off, and the sky was like a yellowish greenish color, not like a dark green, not like a sage green, but it was probably like a for those of you who are familiar with like banana peppers, which are also called pepperoncinis, you've probably seen them at Subway if you go to Subway, but that was the color that the sky was, kind of like a like a yellow, kind of like a light yellow, light green color, kind of like mustard in a way, with just a tint of green to it. And what happened is all of a sudden my dad went outside to check things out, and it probably was like a mile at least away, maybe more, but it started seeing rotation, and we didn't touch down, but there was a funnel cloud starting to come down, and it went maybe halfway down. I'm trying to remember how many minutes it was, don't actually recall, but it went back up. So that was the closest I ever came to being in a tornado. And I thought that like bad tornadoes, like F5s, like the ones that, really bad ones you hear about, I thought that was, that's just Kansas, that's just Oklahoma, Texas. But didn't realize, I thought, tornadoes in Illinois were pretty mild. But I actually lived, I don't know if any of you are familiar with Plainfield, Illinois, but it used to be like a no-name town, but Plainfield basically put, and I don't know what it is about that area. It's got to be something with the, what's that called? Can't think of it right now, but sort of like a humidity, maybe like a humidity belt, or like an air chute, so to speak. But Plainfield is right around like Joliet and Lamont, And that area has had a lot of tornado, like Plainfield has already had numerous tornadoes. This just happened to be the worst one ever. That just seems to be like, it's real flat, like not as open as it used to be. It's a lot more, it used to be a lot more open, kind of like a farm town, but that tornado pretty much put Plainfield on the map. But it was, it struck like the day before school started. Totally destroyed. Plainfield, like I said, only had one high school back then. Nowadays they got 4 high schools. But man, imagine how many more people, like 30 people died. I think 28 people died, 350 were injured. But yeah, I can imagine if that tornado had struck just a day later, how many more people would have died, how many more people would have gotten injured. The football team and the volleyball team were practicing, and they actually went into a hallway. I think the football players were outside, and they went inside into the gym. The volleyball players were in the gym, but I guess all of a sudden the power went out, and they heard the tornado coming. It was actually rain wrapped. There was no warning, like nobody. I guess they had thrown out a lot of tornado warnings over the recent years, but like nothing happened. So they basically kind of hesitated in a way. They shouldn't have hesitated. Like there were no warnings. The sirens actually didn't go off until the tornado had left the area. It was so devastated by it. But yeah, to this day, it was the only tornado to ever, the only F5 to ever strike the Chicago area. It was just about maybe 45 minutes southwest of Chicago. But yet to this day, it's the only F5 to ever strike the Chicago area and the only F5 to ever strike the United States in August. It was August 28th of 1990. And it was mostly Plainfield, but hit Joliet pretty bad too. Yeah, Joliet and Lamont, they've had numerous tornadoes over the years. And getting back to what I was saying, the football team, when they knew something was wrong, they heard it coming. It was rain wrapped. I guess, there's no video footage of it, but like everybody, because this was back in 1990, nowadays it'd be all over the place. But all the people that saw it said it just looked like a big wall of rain. It was rain wrapped, and so nobody ever saw it. They just thought it was a really severe thunderstorm, like a wall of rain coming at them. But a lot of people that did view it said that, they said like this big wall of debris, and it was like, I think it was 800 yards wide, and trees were getting bent in half like this, so everybody knew it was probably a tornado, definitely a severe, thunderstorm, windstorm. And yeah, the hallway that the football players kept their helmets on for protection, but yeah, the whole football team and the girls volleyball team, they went in this hallway, and ironically, it's like that was the only part of the high school that was still left. That is just so ironic. Yeah, God was definitely on their side, but it was very weird that that when the tornado passed by and they came to, they said there was just like nothing left. There were no trees, no houses, no buildings. They had no idea like what direction was what. It was just, everything was just completely gone. This one guy said he was like trying to walk home. He didn't know if his house was still standing, but he's like, yeah, I don't even know how to find my house. He's like, I got a sister and my parents. Like, I don't even know how to, this is before, the early days of cellular phones. But yeah, this was, nowadays we had a cell phone. You can usually make calls, but this was, there probably wasn't, payphones were a big thing back then. Probably couldn't even find a payphone since the town was completely, it was like and I actually went to see the destruction. Probably weren't any payphones around, but yeah, it was like a war zone, like just like somebody had dropped a bomb on this town. And I did hear a story that somebody was like, this woman, she had 3 kids, and the house got completely destroyed. And they survived, they all survived, but she said that she saw some guy, the traffic was backed up because of the destruction, the debris, the wreckage, and she said that she actually saw this guy like on a cellular phone back in 1990. How ironic is that? Because she wanted to get to a payphone, her husband was still at work, and she wanted to call him, let him know that their house was destroyed, and she actually asked this guy if she could use his phone, and he said yes. So again, like how ironic is that too? So yeah, that's my story on that. I am going to get ready, go to work in a little bit. Share some of your stories with me if you have any tornado stories, close calls. Would love to hear them. Sure, everybody from the Midwest has had a close call with a tornado or near tornado. Comment, like, share, subscribe. Until next time, America.